Hey guys! In this video, we're going to talk about the most terrifying ghost stories. We all know that horror stories have the power to make us both apprehensive and fascinated at the same time. And when it comes to ghosts, fear can be even greater. After all, they are supernatural beings who, according to many reports, haunt places and people. Story 1: The Haunted House. Our first story today is about a haunted house in a small country town. They say that the house was built on top of an old cemetery and that the souls that were buried there never found peace. Several residents of the region reported seeing figures, hearing voices, and witnessing objects moving by themselves inside the house. Some brave ones risked entering the place, but they never managed to stay for long, always being expelled by inexplicable forces. There are reports that a couple who lived in the house in the past were found dead under mysterious circumstances and that their spirits may be responsible for the haunting. Story 2: The Phantom of the Hotel. Our second story is about an old hotel that is reportedly inhabited by a ghost. Hotel staff have reported seeing a man dressed in antique clothing walking the halls at night. Some guests also claim to have heard strange noises and felt the presence of the ghost in their rooms. It is said that the man who haunts the hotel was a former owner of the place who tragically passed away and never managed to leave the land. Some claim he seems to be always searching for something, perhaps looking for a way to find peace and move on. Story 3: The Graveyard Girl. Another story we'll hear today is about a girl who haunts an abandoned cemetery. She is said to have died at a young age and her body was buried in the cemetery, where she now haunts passers-by. Several visitors have reported seeing the girl walking among the tombs, hearing her voice whispering their names and even feeling her icy touch. Many claim she is a friendly spirit and does no harm, but even so, it's hard not to get goosebumps at the thought of her. There are reports that the girl would have been the victim of a cruel murder and that her soul still hasn't found the peace it deserves. Story 4: The Haunted Doll. Our fourth story is about an antique doll that was found in an antique shop. Apparently, the doll belonged to a girl who tragically died in a fire and her spirit has haunted the doll ever since. It is said that the doll moves by itself during the night and that sometimes you can hear the girl's laughter coming from inside her. Some doll owners have reported being plagued by terrible nightmares and feeling the girl's presence in their home. Story 5: The Haunted Road. Our fifth story is about a dark, isolated road that is reportedly haunted by ghosts. Several drivers claim to have seen figures or shadows crossing the road during the night and heard strange voices in their cars. They say that the road was built on top of an old Indian cemetery and that the souls that were buried there never left the place. Some people who ventured to walk along the road claim to have seen frightening figures approaching them and to have felt a sense of uncontrollable dread. Story 6: The Abandoned Hotel. Our last story is about an abandoned hotel that was closed after a mysterious fire that killed several people. It is said that the victims' souls still haunt the place, and that you can hear their screams and wails at night. Several urban explorers who have ventured inside the hotel have reported seeing frightening figures in the hallways, and hearing footsteps and moans coming from empty rooms. Some claim that the hotel is so spooky that it's impossible to stay in it for long, and that anyone who ventures inside is never the same afterwards. So what do you think of these stories? We hope you enjoyed it and that you weren't too scared. Remember, these are just stories and there is no evidence that ghosts and hauntings actually exist. Let us know in the comments if you've had any experience with scary stories or if you know any other horror stories you'd like to share.